So you think Obama is a clone of Akhenaten then?
Let's get to that. Let's have a look at this. All right. Now, I've established the idea that Akhenaten is the go-to guy for all the secret societies, from Rosicrucians to Freemasonry. If you also understand that Akhenaten was the carrier of all this knowledge, the renegade, you would understand why they would bring him back out of all people. And like I say, the Hastings Institute even went forward and said this. Well, you know what? I put this picture. Let's start with Michelle, since we have her. Let's look at Akhenaten's mother, Queen T. Akhenaten's mother, Queen T, is a mystery as well. She was brought into the pharaonic ship at the age of 4 and was co-regent with her husband, Amenhotep III. The biggest statues of pharaohs are of Queen T and her husband, Amenhotep III. And they gave birth to Akhenaten. When you look at Queen T, I would imagine you would immediately see Michelle Obama. Now, what I did is I took Michelle Obama's high school photo and I cut it in half. And I laid these two images side by side. And you can't tell I split the photo. People are using my mixed image as an original image of Queen T, because you can't even tell her face is there. If you got that picture of her high school photo and you were to crossfade these two images, you would clearly see that they are the same person.
You know, resemblance, we know resemblance occurs across culture, I mean, across time periods.
And I would give that to you. And I would think the same thing. Now, honestly, if you want to look at the next picture, Barack Akhenaten, when I put this artwork together, I really only put Barack, his Time magazine photo, with Akhenaten. And I split, again, the faces in half. Now, I'll admit here live on television that I did not manipulate, squish, or do anything to make that face fit the other face. They just fit. I cut them straight in half and I put them together and they are an exact match. So now we have two faces of a single family of Egypt and a single family that is the first family. So you're looking at Akhenaten split with Barack Obama, and you're looking at Queen T split with Michelle Obama. And then I learned, lo and behold, that Akhenaten had 2 favorite daughters. And I said, nah, this can't be. So I dug out the images of Akhenaten's 2 daughters. And I'll tell you, Malaya and Sasha have very unique facial structures compared to each other, whereas Sasha has kind of the pudgier cheeks and Malaya is a little skinnier. They are an exact match of Akhenaten's children. So now you have 4 faces that you're dealing with. Okay, so we're dealing with the fact that you can clone a mummy, that cloning has been going on since 1951, that if the secret societies in charge of our planet were going to bring back anyone in the world, it would be this man. And now we've got this mysterious man who we call Barack Obama, and I'd like to get into more of him a little bit later. Of course, he's Barry Soetoro, Barry Dunham. Nobody knows what his name is, and I predicted that as well.
No one knows where he's born. No one knows his real identity, right?
Exactly.
He was born on Krypton.
Exactly, exactly.
And if Michelle is a man, that's another question now that's been posed.
Pharaohs were very manly, and Queen Hatshepsut was another one of these female pharaohs. Now remember, Queen T was a pharaoh. Queen Hatshepsut, who also has an amazing temple that no one can explain how it was created, she would actually wear a beard so that she could stand up there as pharaoh. So these pharaonic women were very much into being manly. So I can understand when Joan Rivers comes out and says that Obama is our first gay president and that Michelle's actually a transvestite. But my theory's been running a whole lot longer, and my evidence continues to compound on itself instead of degrade.
Right. But what is the reason for Akhenaten people not being able to identify Akhenaten's body if he was a man or a woman?
Well, this goes back to the ancient astronauts hypothesis, and many people, when you begin the study of ancient astronauts, you immediately come to Akhenaten. He's the first man, the king of the ancient astronauts, because he was born with a cone head, and he had this weird body that had big, wide hips, and they actually would say that he had Marfan syndrome, because he's always depicted with a cone head and with this weirdly shaped pear body. But Akhenaten brought life to it. even depicting himself with his family and depicting himself as he naturally was, with a cone head and big wide hips. And the daughters as well, when you see their depictions, are cone heads as well, with pointed Vulcan ears.
Given this ritual of raising Akhenaten, what is your interpretation of the reasoning behind it? You know, Obama hasn't proved to be, I mean, he may be the last president, we don't know yet, but he hasn't proved to be any kind of great leader from any point of view. No one is, at this point, no one is really a big fan of his, it seems. So where is this ritual going?
Right. Now, this is where it really gets curious. Because, yes, I never expected much out of Barack Obama. And let's just state that they may never know that they were clones, right? And let's keep that clear as well. That a clone.
If they listen to you, they might figure it out. But yeah.
Right. I keep imagining Malaya saying, "Why do I have to be a cone head?" You know. And I think they must have seen my work. I'm pretty sure they must have seen my work. I've been spouting about this since they came to power, so I am pretty sure it's come across their desk. Barack Obama himself. Now, this is where it all came in. To be very curious. Now, first of all, we live on a much stranger planet than you could possibly imagine. And the elite, these leaders, the powers that be, are way ahead of us in their technology and their understandings of the universe. Now, you can glean a lot of this off freemantv.com because I've been following the hidden agenda for quite some time, and it's mind-boggling. So when Barack Obama came into power, I actually created my first artwork of Barack Akhenaten. And to me, this, like you were saying, was just a strange coincidence. It wasn't until I found 5 other faces and one single family that I said, okay, this is too much. Because this just can't happen. I'm sorry, that much is not coincidence. If you can get 5 faces from one single family together and make them another single family, if you can do this with any other family in the world, I'll eat my hat. But you're talking 5 faces, all right? So that's the big key here.
Where's the fifth face?
What's
There's
that?
4 faces. Who's the 5th face?
Ah, yes, we are missing one, aren't we? And then we'll get to Barack. There was one more face. You see, Barack Obama would not be married to his wife of ancient lore. He'd be married to his mother.
Right.
Queen T was his mom. Nefertiti was his famous wife.
Oh, Beyonce.
The beauty of Nefertiti. Yeah.
Beyonce. And there has always been that rumor about Obama and Beyonce when they were in, was it France or Paris together?
That is absolutely correct. And that came out right after I announced the Nefertiti-Beyonce connection. After, right? I was before that, saying, no, if this be true, then the true wife of Barack would be Beyonce. Right. And of course, at the inaugural ball, what did she do? She came out and sang, "At last, my love has come," right?
Well, there's an interesting synergy between the overall relationship of Jay-Z and Beyonce and Obama and Michelle, and how when they're both going through like divorce rumors around the same time period, I think both men have a bisexual, if not homosexual tendency. The women actually have similar facial structures, although Beyonce is much prettier, but there is similar facial structures. It is interesting, I must say. And obviously Jay-Z being one of his biggest proponents, Obama, from the beginning, and in a certain way laying the foundation for what Obama could achieve.
Yeah. Obama was there to make you mad. You know, that's why he's been the richest paid president. This was all a game plan to make you angry about
the name Barack Obama, you've described before. It's the stone cast. What is it about the rock? The rock casteth down from heaven?
Okay. Before we jump to that, I just wanted to throw in that Beyonce singing Ave Maria inside of the pyramid with Zahi Hawass, and he called her a very stupid person. But yeah. So all those connections are there. When Barack went to Egypt with Zahi, he also found a cartouche of himself and said, "Look, that looks like me," right? There's Obama saying this on live television when he's looking at, and they said, "No, we think you're like King Tut," which of course he looks nothing like King Tut. He looks everything like Akhenaten. And I think they were kind of hiding that fact by introducing the King Tut factor. And Jay-Z, I have suspicions that he might have been Akhenaten's replacement, who was known as Semenkar. And I have yet to find a good picture of Semenkar to be able to compare the two. But, you know, if all the rest of it be true, then Jay-Z would be Semenkar. But, okay, Barack Obama. Yes, let's get to him. Okay, the very words Barack Obama in the Hebrew language means lightning from heaven. Okay, so I was going to get to this esoteric parts of what Barack's play is, his role in this global ritual, as we're saying. Lightning from heaven is the description of Satan in the Bible. If you were to look at the Bible and it said, and Satan fell like lightning from heaven, and you read that in Aramaic, you would read, and Satan fell like Barack Obama. You can look this up in any Hebrew dictionary. I have it there on my website if you want to check it for yourself. Barack Obama means lightning from heaven, which is the description of Satan in the Bible. Now, I've never believed that Barack Obama was meant to be the Antichrist. Although, strangely enough, when Nostradamus predicted the Antichrist, he said it would be connected with Mabus. And it turns out that Barack Obama put Ray Mabus in charge of the Space Force, the United States Space Force, right? And that all ties into this puzzle. Because when we start to look at what Obama has done and what has been going on in the 8 years that he's been around, is that we have seen the shutdown of NASA and the rise of the privatized space program and the weaponization of our current space program known as the Ares space program, which of course is the god of war. All right, so now our space shuttles are known as the Columbia Endeavor for the discovery of Atlantis, right? And Columbia is their goddess that relates back to Isis, and this is why our capital is the District of Columbia, so the Columbia for the discovery of Atlantis. When you start to put these puzzle pieces together, there was a big show going on, and Werner von Braun was one that came forward, and he told his secretary, Carol Rosen, over and over again that there were multi-universes, and that there was a major game plan going on that they were going to set up to bring about this new world order. And it would start with the Red Scare, and then it would move on to
terrorism next.
Terrorism, and then asteroids, followed by aliens, right?
As the means of militarizing space.
Yes, the Hegelian dialectic of
and that prospect has been around at least since Rumsfeld and the Bush administration were pretty heavy advocates of that, of militarization of space. But as you said, the private sector being given more and more reins. I remember talking to Robert Bigelow about this when we did our Jesse Ventura conspiracy theory episode on Skinwalker. And Robert Bigelow is one of these guys who's being given mandate to transport weapons into space as part of his private sector building of spaceports and whatnot.
As we start to look into this puzzle and we start to realize that this was the game plan, I put together an artwork of Barack Akhenaten, Obama as Akhenaten, and I put an asteroid hurtling towards Earth and in kind of a pre-show. I like to show you what they're going to do before they do it, right? So I put this artwork together, and then a month later, or maybe even less, they announced, oh my God, there is an asteroid hurtling towards planet Earth and it will destroy all life in either 2029 or 2036. And this asteroid is known as Apophis. Now, this shocked me to death because Apophis is the serpent or Satan deity of Akhenaten's religion.
Like Typhon.
So now
yeah.
When this became broadcast all across the news, oh my God, doomsday asteroid Apophis. Now remember, that's Akhenaten's Satan, and it comes from a group of near-Earth asteroids known as the Aten, which is Akhenaten's god, right? So we have Apophis coming in while Akhenaten or Obama, Barack Akhenaten is in power, and they have to find ways to save planet Earth from this. But the truth of it is the odds of it hitting us were slim to none from the get-go. And they knew this. It was broadcast as well, but that wasn't going to make the news, and it wasn't going to push the name Apophis out into the public.
You're a great guest to have and very insightful, Freeman. Thank you so much for joining us. And people can check you out at freemantv.com. Is that the best website for you?
That's the only one.
That's it. Fantastic. Well, thank you for joining us. And again, we will follow up in the coming months get some new takes on the symbolism that is ongoing and occurring down the road.
You can get a lot of this out of our new book called Weird Stuff.
Yeah.
We have Weird Stuff Part 1 and 2 are out now, and it lays this out for you in a very down-to-earth manner. It's actually designed in such a way so that you can share this with your friends easily. Everyone will understand what it's saying. We haven't gotten to this part of the puzzle in Weird Stuff yet, so it's still at the ground floor of understanding so that you can share this information. Because this is what we find that we need to do the most, is create tools for people to share this information. So
absolutely. Yeah, so cool. But they can get that through the website, right?
Yes, absolutely. FreemanTV.com, and also Aliens from Hell, which is this whole talk that we just gave.
Well, there you have it, folks. Freeman Fly is a well-researched, very intelligent man who has a lot to offer. So we urge you to go to FreemanTV.com to watch his videos, check out his books, and take an assessment and look for yourselves and see what is occurring, because we are at a very critical juncture. And as I said, let this not come forth the peace of the grave, but instead we need true peace on earth, being peace of life and awareness and heightened consciousness. So please be the revolution, spread the news, wake your friends and fellow humans up to the reality of what is becoming a very bleak and dangerous future. This is Sean Stone signing off. So you think Obama is a clone of Akhenaten then?
Let's get to that. Let's have a look at this. All right. Now, I've established the idea that Akhenaten is the go-to guy for all the secret societies, from Rosicrucians to Freemasonry. If you also understand that Akhenaten was the carrier of all of this knowledge, the renegade, you would understand why they would bring him back out of all people. And like I say, the Hastings Institute even went forward and said this. Well, you know what? They just fit. I cut them straight in half and I put them together and they are an exact match. So now we have two faces of a single family of Egypt and a single family that is the first family. So you're looking at Akhenaten split with Barack Obama, and you're looking at Queen T split with Michelle Obama. And then I learned, lo and behold, that Akhenaten had two favorite daughters.
Aha.
And I said, nah, this can't be. With this picture, let's start with Michelle, since we have her. Let's look at Akhenaten's mother, Queen T. Akhenaten's mother, Queen T, is a mystery as well. She was brought into the pharaonic ship at the age of 4 and was co-regent with her husband, Amenhotep III. The biggest statues of pharaohs are of Queen T and her husband, Amenhotep III. And they gave birth to Akhenaten. When you look at Queen T, I would imagine you would immediately...
You know, resemblance occurs across culture, across time periods.
And I would give that to you. And I would think the same thing. Now, honestly, if you want to look at the next picture, Barack Akhenaten, when I put this artwork together, I really only put Barack, his Time magazine photo, with Akhenaten. And I split, again, the faces in half. Now, I'll admit here live on television that I did not manipulate, squish, or do anything to make that face fit the other face. Immediately see Michelle Obama. Now, what I did is I took Michelle Obama's high school photo and I cut it in half. And I laid these two images side by side. And you can't tell I split the photo. People are using my mixed image as an original image of Queen T, because you can't even tell her face is there. If you got that picture of her high school photo and you were to crossfade these two images, you would clearly see that they are the same person.